Hi guys, my name is Martina Gutierrez and I'm here with part 2 of the marriage, sex, contraceptive, children video that I uploaded. And so I want to start by reading in John chapter 2 verse 15. It says, "Do not love the world or anything in the world. If anyone loves the world, love for the Father is not in them." So guys, as I said in the first video, anybody who loves the things of this world, what are the things of this world? Okay, like I've mentioned before, okay, the need of money, the need of avarice, the need of sex, pornography, marriage outside, sex outside of the marriage, all this impure stuff, woman with woman, man with man, men and two women, women with two men, you know, all of this impurity does not come from God. And God says, if you love these things, you do not have God in you. This is not of God, and God doesn't accept these things. We must try our best to stay in chastity, to stay pure, to stay in grace with God. I mean, it is important for us to be in a good relationship with God. He is our Lord, and you know, He has power to throw us into the fire, you know, and He tells us you're not gonna die. You're not just gonna die and you're done. Like, you're gonna die and you're gonna live everlasting, whether it is in heaven or it's gonna be in hell. So, you know, this is something that we all have heard all our life. And so, I mean, nobody denies Jesus coming. Nobody denies that there's a God. Nobody denies this. So, you know, it's so real. This is true. And, you know, you're going to die and you're going to have to answer for this stuff. So, you know, here it tells us, for everything in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, meaning, we're so perverted with the things of this world that there's just so much lust out there, guys. And we just must let that go. Guys, humanly, it is impossible, right? It is impossible to just not be able to get caught onto these things. But with God, everything is possible, guys. Everything is possible. God will give us that strength. God will give us that wisdom, that knowledge to be able to have discernment, to be able to overcome all that stuff that is part of this world. And it goes to say, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life comes not from the Father, but from the world. The world and its desire pass away, but whoever does the will of my God lives forever. I mean, guys, this world is gonna end. It's gonna come to an end, no matter how much it catches your attention, how much it catches your eye, how much you wanna go and be a part of that. It's not right, and it's gonna take you to death. And so God tells us, man, just ignore these things. Do not let yourself get carried away into the objective, into what truly matters. God has a plan, and what matters is your salvation. And you can lose that by what? By getting caught up in the things that you're not even gonna take with you. The things of this world that just are just so impure, so wrong, and take you to death. So I want to share a little bit about the impurities of the woman. I want to start by reading from Leviticus chapter 15 verse 9, and it says here, when a woman has her regular flow of blood, the impurity of her monthly period will last 7 days, and anyone who touches her will be unclean till evening. So guys, remember when I was talking about the sex in the first video, how we're supposed to have sex with our spouse only, to, you know, that how we can go into abstinence. Now, this is one of the things we all know, that women get their menstrual cycles, and during that time you go into abstinence. As we can see, you cannot have sex during a woman's menstrual cycle, and this world will probably teach you to do the grossest things. But in the world of God, God tells you there's things that you just must respect. There's things that just must be left alone, and these are one of the things that need to be left alone and respected. And I think even if you're not in the faith, I think common sense, you would know that these are days that are just impure. The body's getting rid of stuff, and so the body we must let the body run its course. And so you know, this is one thing that, you know, the Bible tells us not to do. Another thing that it tells us, that I had already read, but I'm gonna read it again, from Galatians chapter 5 verse 19. It says, the acts of the flesh are obvious: sexual immorality, impurity, and debauchery. Now we know what's right and we know what's wrong. Consciously, you know it's wrong to be cheating on your husband. You know it's wrong to be cheating on your wife. You know you would know this is impure. You would know this is wrong. Consciously, you're aware of what is right and what is wrong and what is immortal, you know? So God tells us the acts of the flesh are obvious: sexual immorality, impurity, and debauchery, idolatry and witchcraft, hatred, discord, jealousy, fits of rage, selfish ambition, dissension, factions and envy, drunkenness, orgies. You know, people like to be women with women, men with men, and you know, entering that other phase of an impure. It's so impure. You, even if you're not in living with God, you know it's impure, you know it's wrong. So these are things that God is telling us not to play a part in. Another thing that I do want to share from Genesis 38, you know, remember I was mentioning to you guys that we were brought into this world with a plan. The plan that God had for us was for a man to be with a woman, was for them to procreate children. And so I understand, if you are like me, I have 6 kids. Thank God he has blessed me enough. And so, you know, there are, I want to talk about the contraceptives. You know, they are not part of the faith. The faith does not accept the contraceptives. One, let me tell you why. Contraceptives do damage to the woman. Most of the time, they do more bad to you, to your body, than what it does any good. Another thing is taking something that stops you from having a baby. I know, you know, sometimes you have, like, I know some women have an IUD and, you know, you get pregnant and babies come on wrong. And there's a lot of things that go on that are wrong within the contraceptives themselves, like tying your tubes. A lot of women get their hormones go imbalance. It does so much bad. So the church doesn't approve that, for one, because obviously the church approves of having kids, the procreation. But if you are like me, and you know, you would want to take care of yourself in a way where, okay, I don't want to fail God, I don't want to sin against God, and yet I also don't want to keep on procreating, because you know, maybe you've hit that limit where you're like, okay, you know what, I've had enough kids. I have 6 kids. I have had enough kids. So what you can do is obviously a woman has a menstrual cycle. If you don't have a menstrual cycle, then you can't get pregnant. But every woman has their menstrual cycle, and the normal menstrual cycle is about 28 to 32 days, normal ones, the cycle. So, you know, you have the way my family does it is we keep track of the days that we are ovulating. So we all know that there is a 10-day window gap. And so as I read in Corinthians, 1 Corinthians chapter 6, where it talks about going into abstinence, this 10 window gap, you can go into abstinence. One, you will not be sinning because you're not gonna take contraceptives. 2, you will not be sinning because, you know, most people watching my video can be like, well, Martina, you know, can we just not like do it and then like just do it naturally, like just not finish within each other? No, you cannot, because if we read in Genesis chapter 38 verse 10, Judah said to Onan, sleep with your brother's wife and fulfill your duty to her as a brother-in-law to raise up offspring for your brother. But Onan knew that the child would not be his. So whenever he slept with his brother's wife, he spilled his semen on the ground to keep from providing offspring from his brother. It says, what he did was wicked in the Lord's sight, so the Lord put him to death. Guys, we cannot be wasting our seed like that, because in the faith, obviously, it takes that and the woman to procreate children. So you're practically spilling, you know, your seed. You're spilling your seeds, your fruits given to you. You're spilling them outside, and so God doesn't like this. And so you don't want to sin. You don't want to commit this sin where, okay, as long as you're not having kids, you're spilling this, and you're not reaching piety in your marriage by doing these things. And so what is the best thing to do is, as I said, that 10 window gap, that 10-day window gap, that you would be, you know, you ovulate on one day, but you know, The sperm lives inside a woman for 5 days. So 5 days before your ovulation day, 3 days after your ovulation day, that you can get pregnant. And you want to give it about a day or two, just in case. Sometimes if women can get their period late, you can ovulate later. So you want to make sure you add in, you calculate the days if you're not trying to get pregnant. And obviously you cannot take contraceptives because you don't want to go against God. And obviously all this has to be with prayer, guys. You have to pray to God, ask him for guidance, and so that you're able to do this right. And and let God's will be done. I mean, like I said, there's that 10 window gap that you can go into abstinence. You and your spouse can give up these days. And on the days that you're free, then you can freely enjoy each other, also offering that to God. Everything you do must be given to God. This is a way that you can reach piety. Yes, you can have sex with your spouse. I mean, guys, if it was to happen that you're like, okay, I cannot last these 10 days, and you end up having sex, and this ends up happening, guys, relax. It is not a mortal sin. It's obviously God doesn't like this, but I'm sure we can all understand that we don't have a dumb God. We have a smart God. So it's something extra that you can do in your marriage that regardless of whatever. It's like praying for your food. If you don't pray once, you're not going to go to hell for that, but it's something that must be done to reach that level of piety, of grace with God. You always want to work to become better in the faith. And this is one of the ways that you can perfection your marriage in the faith, is by sustaining your marriage and putting your marriage through these things. And like I said, not sinning in the way where, okay, you're throwing their offspring, you're throwing your offspring, and sinning in that way, not sinning in the way where, you're not going into abstinence in those days, or because you rather take contraceptives, that is a sin. Taking contraceptives is a sin. Church doesn't approve of that. And I want to show you guys the app that I was talking to you guys about. Okay, guys, so this is the app. I don't know if you can see it well, but it's called Period Tracker. And your husband can download it as well. That way you both can keep tracks on the days that, you can both be aware on the days that, if you are going to try this method, on the days that you are able to come into union together, and the days that you can't. So you guys can both be aware of your body, of the woman's body. It's good for the husband to be aware, because that's your spouse, and you guys, this is something intimate between you guys. But I do want to share this calendar with you guys. And as I said, here is the day gap. Here is a day gap. I'm not sure if you can see it. Oh yeah, here's a day gap. See? So on the green dots are days that you're possible to get pregnant. On that flower, that means you're ovulating. So you want to skip these. You want to skip these days. Obviously, this is the days of your menstrual cycle. This is just to give you the idea. These days you go in abstinence. These days you go in abstinence too, if you want to reach that piety with God, guys, where you want to perfection your marriage. So this is a way that you can do it. This is a natural way of doing it, where you're not sinning, you're not hurting your body, and you're reaching piety, you're reaching grace with God. And it's a good way to do it. I've been doing it for years, and it's so far it's been God's grace for us to be okay, and it's worked out fine. And I've known of other people, I've heard stories of other people that they've done it, and it's worked great, it's worked fine. So yeah, just put yourself in God's hands and let him work into your life. And these are ways, guys, because God is here for our everyday life. God is not here just in the church. God is here in everyday life, in your job, in your house. Everything that you do must be done with God, even including having sex. So yes, guys, I want to share one more passage with you guys. It's Matthew chapter 5, verse 8, and it says this. Says, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God." And you want to be pure in heart. You want to make sure you do everything for God, and that you're reaching that piety in your marriage and in the faith, so that you can come into a great state of spiritual life, and you can this will increase your spiritual life. It's kind of like waking up in the morning and praying and giving thanks to God. You know, you don't do it every day. You know, you don't sin if you don't do it, but it helps you reach that piety. If you don't, if you don't pray before you go to bed, it's not a sin, but it helps you reach that piety. It is a walk of the faith. And so I want to read one more thing. One more. I know I said this was the last one, but this is the last one. Deuteronomy chapter 28. It says here, if you fully obey the Lord your God and carefully follow all his commandments I give you today, the Lord your God will sit high above all the nations on earth, and all these blessings will come on you and accompany you if you obey the Lord your God. You will be blessed in the city and blessed in the country. The fruit of your womb will be blessed, and the crops of your land and the young of your livestock, the calves of your herds and the lambs of your flock. Your basket and your kneading through will be blessed. You will be blessed when you come in, and you will be blessed when you go out. The Lord will grant that the enemies who rise up against you will be defeated before you. They will come at you from one direction, but flee from you in seven. The Lord will send a blessing on your barns and on everything you put your hand to. The Lord your God will bless you in the land he has given you. The Lord will establish you as his holy people, as he promised you on oath, if you keep the commandments of the Lord your God and walk in obedience to him. Then the people on earth will see that you are called by the name of the Lord, and they will fear you. So guys, why should we do this? Why should we do all this? All this, from the contraceptives to our marriage to reaching piety. Why should we do this? We should do this because we want to be blessed. Blessed by who? Blessed by our God. The one that by just blowing created the heavens and the earth. The one that came down, that sent his only son to come down and die for you on that cross. And yes, he is worthy. He's worthy of those 10-day gap that you're not going to sin taking them contraceptives, not only because you're the body of the Holy Spirit and you must take care of your body, but because he's worth everything. He's worth you trying. God, we don't have a dumb God. We have a smart God. And God knows when we fail. And that's why we have the beautiful sacrament of confession. And we're able to go into that confession room and let go of our failings and try again. No, we're not perfect. God says he came for the sick. Who's the one that needs the doctor? It's the sick. It's not the perfect. It's the sick that needs the doctor. So we are all wicked. We're all sick, and we all need of God, guys. So I hope I was helpful. I hope the tips that I gave you were helpful. And if you want to know more information, mention it in the comments. If you want me to make another video explaining something more in clarity, I would love to do that for you. Let me know. Thank you for watching my video. God bless you. May God be with you. May God help you reach piety. May God help you get closer to him. It's in the small things, guys. Everything matters. It's like I tell my daughters, baby, just because you see that rock in the top of the mountain and it might seem that it's the main thing, it's the one in the bottom that also makes a difference. Every single rock helped build that mountain. Every single rock matters. So guys, I just want to tell you thank you. Thank you for watching my video. God bless you. Have a nice day. Bye.